I've been building for a long time, but today I'm putting my skills to the test and making my largest build yet. And it begins right here with this pillager outpost, which I will promptly destroy and terraform a huge area around where it was. This is to make way for things to come. Now we begin on the actual structure. You can see that this is going to be extremely tall, and I should tell you that this is a mega version of the pillager outpost. Down the sides, I put these designs using stone and wood, trying to keep a bit of resemblance to the original. I love this gold piece I put here. The sides are done, so it's time for the roof. I used worldedit to make the sphere, but went through and connected it manually. It had to be made out of dark oak, of course. And so it's not just flat, I put these lines and rings around it. On top is a grand spire. Around, I built these little outlooks. The main body of the outpost palace thing is done. And now, we move on to the corner bits. I built up these giant corner bits that meet at the base of the roof. And I put these swoopy and swirly designs on the sides of them. I did similar on the interior corner, though you may have noticed that parts of the design were made to resemble windows. Now, I want to go through and terraform before working on these corners. I've decided that with this build, I don't just want to make a giant outpost, but a whole kingdom. That's why I terraformed more. Houses will go in these places, you see. In the corner here, I'm building the new version of the cages seen in the regular outpost. They're going to be dangling over lava. There's a large cage and two similar cages. The area should feel more closed in, so I also made these smaller versions of the big walls. Out of the arches is a big courtyard area where there's this beautiful fountain and gardens. There's one on all four sides. The outside of the palace is done and it looks great, but we have to do the interior. First, I made this road around the palace. The bottom is going to be the throne room, where the king will speak to his subjects. The ceiling here is going to be very artistic. I'm hoping for a Renaissance type feel, especially with using terracotta for more washed colors. In the center is the throne, and around it are the stands for the subjects. Oh my goodness, guys. This looks wonderful, but let's move on. The second floor is the servant living quarters, which you'll see the rooms are clustered together and cramped. I also made the hallways messy with barrels and chests and pots. Okay, this looks good. Next up are the guard living quarters. The palace vaults are first, and it made sense to put them on this floor, to be honest. The rooms are also fairly nice and spacey, though they still have to share some. Thought it would make sense that the guards would be living nicer than the servants. All lower living quarters are now done, so we can move on to the other rooms. Up here, we have the ballroom, which is why it's all white. The ceiling has a similar design to the throne room. This is the council room, where I imagine a royal council would meet. Then, bathroom and ceiling. I am super proud of both of these rooms. However, it's time to finally do the dining hall. There's this long room and a large table in the center, and I tried to decorate it as well as I could. On the sides are kitchens. This is honestly really great, and it turned out better than I thought it would. We are now doing the royal bedrooms, and this is the king's, of course. I had to have the bedrooms be at the windows. I felt it to be appropriate, really. To connect everything, I made a grand hall. What do you guys think about all of this so far? Let me know by subscribing, or don't. Above the royal bedrooms is the palace library. You'll see I gave it this unique lobed shape. And again, an art piece in the ceiling. Now, we just fill up the walls with bookshelves and make some tables. You guys should know by now how much I love building libraries. We finally reached the roof outlooks, which I connected to the halls before beginning the rest of this floor. It only made sense to have the study rooms be above the library, since you could pick up your books on the way up. Let's finally build the last room in the palace. Well, it seems I forgot to press record, but it's okay. It's just this small storage room. I want to fly up through the interior so you can see all of the rooms. So now that this huge palace is finally done, it's time to start the city. And to begin, I actually got rid of the grass in these areas, as you can see. Then I made some lights. To separate the city from the palace, I'm building up this wall around it. I built towers to connect the outside to the inside. I terraformed more to make room for the city later. And here, I'm building up the walls that will go around the main city. It's going to be split into 3 parts. The main city, the poor outskirts, and the port. You can see me finishing up the wall going around the stone here. The ground is stone to show it's less dirty. Around the place, I copied and pasted these towers, except for this large one, which I had to just build. Then, I pasted them around more. They were to section up the walls. These are doorways that lead to the outer parts of the city. This one will be to the port. The others to the poor districts. I took time to make a flag, and I moved down to the walls and made this design that went down and led along the entire outside of the wall. I lined the sides of the top of the wall with deep slate tiles. Then I went around and copied smaller pillars just to segment the wall more and keep it from being so flat. Instead of a stone design on the inside of the wall, I made wood go around. What do y'all think of this? I made specific road segments for all of the exits to the main city. Well, now the wall is done, so it's time to construct the buildings. To begin the city and its buildings, I'm doing the main market center. This statue isn't mine, so go support Megray for this. Around this area are market stalls, and I really like the design I made for them. These regular ones, larger ones, and small wooden ones. Beginning with this simple shop, I also made stores and things around the edges. In medieval times, shops would also have houses in the top floors, so I incorporated that into this. I also had the buildings scrunched together, since that also happened a lot, especially with markets and stores. I tried to keep all of the stores to a unique design, as you can see. Then I copied. At the end here is a butcher, and I really like how it turned out. I made this tannery and then moved it, and I built another more generic market here and across. Now, let's make the buildings for the rest of the city. This is the inn, which is why it's so large. I had a flag hang from it. After that, I built a tavern, and I was honestly really excited to build this. I've wanted to build a medieval tavern for a while, and this finally let me. Out of all the buildings so far, this one is the most unique. I used mostly the Minecraft villager professions as inspiration. This one is the stonemason. After it is the armorer. Then the blacksmith here, which isn't too big. And in this tower, the cartographer. I like this building. Over here is the Fletcher, which I put out as like a storefront on the side of it. And of course, one of my favorite buildings in the city is this, the library. It has such a unique castle-esque design with these towers. And of course, as mentioned, I just love building libraries. This little building here is the toolsmith. I made another shop by editing one from the market. Here is the largest building in all of the city, barring the palace, the cathedral. I thought it made sense to have one since it's medieval. I wanted to base it off of one from real life, and I chose the Cologne Cathedral in Germany. You can probably notice the resemblance. The inside was a bit tricky, but I got it. These smaller houses are quite cute, and I really like them. I'll build larger ones in a moment, but I want to take a second to tell you the reason my builds take as long as they do is because of interiors. I can never feel like a build is complete unless it has one. Even just having empty space bothers me. And I want to make my builds as good as I can for you guys. So I really hope you enjoy my builds as much as I do making them. A lot of these houses were really enjoyable to figure out the designs for. Especially this one, with this porch balcony thing. The next house is a much larger one, a manor. This is my favorite house of all of them, and it took me a while to build, but it was really great. I really like how the tower for the corner ended up looking. To finish, I added this yard and fountain. This is the second of the two manors I'm building. I almost never build houses as large as these. I think the hardest part is getting the right type and level of detailing on the outside. I thought it didn't look grand enough, so I made a tower sticking from the roof. And a fountain. Finally, we get to put the city together. I tried to make it a good distribution of houses and work buildings. You can see me here making the roads, which I went and did by hand. And put grass in the empty parts. I placed everything in this part sort of around the cathedral. I wanted a yard around it, which is why. Then I did roads, grass, streetlights, and added carts. I put a second market center right here, but this one doesn't have a statue since it's not the main one. Then I placed down the houses around the market, using the shops as I did for the other one. The rest is the same, nothing special, so I'll just let the time-lapse play out. Enjoy! Now guys, the main city is done and we have to make the poor districts, and that starts with terraforming. All I had to do really was just flatten this area out. Since I terraformed these parts already, we have to make the ground dirty and actually make a bridge. I'm pretty happy with this bridge, to be honest. I made the ground for these areas out of dirt and gravel and mud to show it's dirtier and a lot less refined. Then I was able to build the workhouses for this part. And you may wonder why they're made from wool at first, and that's because I can use worldedit to get these textured and less perfect walls. It makes sense that these buildings are more worn down, less smooth. I still did want to have similar amenities to the main city though. Like this tavern. Or this inn, which is my favorite of this area. I thought a tannery and butcher would make sense for this part, and they're similar to their normal counterparts. The houses are what I'm building here, and some of the roofs will be made using hay bales. This one has a deep slate roof. You may notice that the houses are quite small, but that's by design. These people are poor, low-class citizens, so their houses would just be simple and small and cramped. I mean, look at this one. And that's the final house. I didn't make too many, really. There wasn't really a rhyme or reason to how I placed them down, other than to make the buildings look scattered and messy. I used the worldedit trick again to make messy paths, and added some barrels and lights. I did the same thing over here on the other side of the city. These poor districts are turning out pretty well, and I'm really happy with them. This is the largest one, so it was a bit more complicated to figure out if I'm being honest. Especially since it's not just flat, and has areas that are raised higher. But I got it, and I'm so happy with it. We are in the final stretch of the city. We have to make some farms now though. I drew out this pathway to this area I terraformed and got to work on this barn. I hope the inside is okay. Back outside, I made these big crop fields, splitting them with these stone walls. what is a farm without a farmhouse to live in? Far away, I copied the house in the barn, and instead of logging, I made a dock behind the house. Here are the fields and a little bridge. I terraformed this large hill across from the first port area and built maybe the best bridge I've ever done across the gap. Here's the fields and the farmhouse and the barn. This farm is extremely large, making probably a lot of the crops for the people. Now it's time to make some windmills, so I called in a friend to help. It's the Mango. I'm so grateful that he came to pitch in on this, as he was the one who really inspired me to start making these type of videos. I love his style of building, and this windmill he built looks amazing. The link to his channel will be in the description. I terraformed this area and placed down Mango's windmill, and it just looks great here. There's a long path to connect it to the city. On the Cherry Hill, I put another, and this one is my favorite. This little bridge connects the windmill to the path. Thank you so much for building this, man. It really turned out amazing.
Thank you, I appreciate it. I really like how it came out, even though I did have to redo the windmill blade a few times. By the way, how much did you say you were going to pay me for this?
I decided to make my own windmill design, so it just wasn't the same one over and over. But I used the same design principles to make it look similar. For this one, I made a hanging rope bridge. There needs to be better access to the sea, so I widened and deepened this channel. Instead of deleting this village, I made it to fit in. The final area here is the port. I used the wool method and made the ground out of stone, adding designs on the sides and extending. For a port, we need ships. Unfortunately, I'm not good at building them, so I use the ship shape and sails from Tom on Mars on Planet Minecraft. Link to their post for their ship will be in the description. All that's left to do is put the buildings up here and fill up the dock. I put market stalls on the edge and a fountain for a sort of square here. The buildings are just market buildings from the rest of the city with granite roofs. Here's a crane that they would use to pick up the crates, which I scattered around the dock. Then I bone milled the grass so it's not just flat, and was done. This build, this kingdom, is the largest thing I've ever built. And honestly, it's my most ambitious project ever. It took me well over 200 hours, and I've been working on it since March. There were some hiccups in the process, but it was all worth it. I want to take the time to thank each and every one of you for your support. As of the recording of this video, I just passed 2,700 subscribers after already having recently gotten to 2,000. And the Backrooms video has almost 150,000 views, which just blows my mind. If you've made it to here, I want to say thank you, genuinely. It makes me so emotional seeing how far my channel is going, and seeing that you guys really enjoy the things I create. I also want to remind you, you should go check out the Mango, since he built the windmill, and he just has a great channel. And also, go check out Megray and Tom on Mars for their builds that assisted me with this one. That all being said, if you did enjoy, please leave a big fat thumbs up, as it would be greatly appreciated, and maybe even subscribe, because it helps my channel a ton. That's all, so have a good day everyone, bye bye!